Hi Capricorn, welcome to your September 2023 Astro-Tarot scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So if you are only going to watch one, make sure it's for your ascendant. It's going to be the most accurate because we're using astrology here. With that said, these are, I use whole sign Western tropical astrology when I am looking at charts and transits, for those of you that would like to know. And if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves ya. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So I'm going to pop these to the side. Going to give these a good shuffle. So the first transit that I would like to look at for you this month, my dear Capricorns, is on the 4th of September. Jupiter in your 5th house of Taurus is going to be coming into a Jupiter retrograde, should I say, is coming into an exact trine with Mercury retrograde, which is going to be in your 9th house. So, ooh, okay, so that's your first card out. And now the fact that both of these planets are retrograde, not necessarily, is that the right way up? Yes, they're the right way up. Okay, so not necessarily a big deal, right? Mercury goes retrograde 3 or 4 times a year, Mercury the retrograde whore. And Jupiter goes retrograde once a year for about 3 to 4 months, right? Not necessarily a big deal for either of those things, but for them to come into an exact trine like this, that's a bit more rare, and I thought it was worth sort of looking at. So Jupiter in your 5th house is maybe expanding your world. So for those of you that have children or are of childbearing age, this could be bringing new children into your life or into your world, you know, in any way, shape or form. This could also, you know, Mercury in the 9th house, that could literally see you mending or reconnecting with a sibling or somebody that matters to you. Both of these planets are retrograde, and retrograde energy tends to bring things back into our world or into our lives. Redo, redefine, reconnect, you know, reconcile, all of these words. Going back over things, this is the sort of stuff that a retrograde will bring. The 9th house is about higher education, travel, you know, legal matters and proceedings. So this could be where you relinquish or release a legal matter in some way, shape or form. It could be where you re-advise or maybe even reapply for something, right? Maybe you're reapplying for some kind of higher education. Maybe you're reapplying for a visa of some sort. And in that connection to the 5th house, these are the luckiest houses in the whole of the zodiac, right? So the universe really here is asking you to rethink your relationship to the wider world. It's also helping you redesign and redefine what your ideas of fun and pleasure are, what your ideas of fun, pleasure and romance even are. This is helping you, like, and this has been a running theme for quite a lot of you for quite a while at this point. And it might be like a message also to say that just because you have fun at work doesn't necessarily mean that that's a break. This is about finding ways or bringing healing into your world by bringing a sense of expansion and freedom and a lightness to your life. And this is something that I think a lot of you have needed for quite some time. Mercury is bringing a need for speed and also a revision around matters to do with your current experience and maybe even your current knowledge level, right? Especially because the 9th house is an education house. Many of you could have been revising the idea of what it means to own a business, what it means to go into business for yourself. It also feels like you might be reconnecting here to old mentors, coaches, teachers, maybe even just people that taught you a lot in your life. For this, you've got the 10 of Wands with the Knight of Pentacles and the Strength card. So this is basically saying if you have the guts to go after it and to jump into things that you really feel excited and passionate about, if you're willing to make a move or to even potentially change your location, your life can change with it. There's something here where it's almost suggests like where a few of you may have felt like you're stuck in a bit of a rut of some sort, and it's like now you have the ability to jump out of that or to move into something new. That Knight of Pentacles is a very Capricornian sort of energy as well. It basically says you're going to have to take your time with this, right? You won't just be able to launch straight into it. It is going to be something that develops over time, but it does suggest that the changes that are happening are because you're jumping into this energy. Now, the sun is going to be coming into your ninth house as well. The sun is light, heat, vitality, right? And it's also bringing an energy with it of authority figures, people that can really shine a light on you in some way. And that ninth house of legal matters, higher education, all of your philosophy, spirituality as well. The sun is a very spiritual element as well. It doesn't get enough kudos for that as well, because the sun actually represents the soul. So the fact that it's coming into the ninth house is really highlighting or bringing your attention to your beliefs and your belief structure and your belief system, how those things actually do or don't work for you. The sun is going to be trine to Jupiter retrograde in that fifth house. These are the luckiest houses in the zodiac. And this aspect, the sun trine Jupiter, is known as one of, if not the luckiest transit in all of astrology. So for you, this is happening in that space, right, where you're getting two of the two most beneficent energies in our zodiac, in our solar system, right, the sun and Jupiter. This is wonderful for you because and you'll probably feel this coming in like a couple of days before, and then obviously it will go exact, and you might feel it even the day after. But this the 8th of September, this is your let's say between like this, let's stretch it a little. The 5th and the 9th of September is the transit window, but it comes exact on the 8th. This is the time. Buy the lotto ticket, put a bet out, right? The fifth house is anything that makes your heart race, which is one of the reasons it represents gambling. This can be a time where you go after something that you wouldn't usually go for, that you wouldn't usually do. And if you have a punt, right? Maybe you take a punt, maybe you take a big swing of some sort, you go for it. Jupiter is authority figures and dignitaries and celebrities. The ninth house, the sun is authority figures. This could be where you connect with somebody who can really help further your goals or your gains in some regard. Now, the sun rules the sign of Leo, which for you is your 8th house of other people's money. This is a time where I would say to you, buy the lotto ticket, place a bet. Obviously, don't put your house, your wife, your car, and your kids on the roulette table. But, take a gamble. This is the time. This is the time to do it. You've got so much lucky energy here. Jupiter represents protection. The sun represents protection. It's kind of like obviously don't get crazy reckless and super greedy, but you can't really lose with this, right? Like something great will come out of this regardless, and potentially in regards to other people's money. Jupiter rules your 12th house and your 3rd house, and this could see you reconnect with siblings or with a neighbor of some kind. I really like this for doing something that you wouldn't usually do. Potentially some of you have children that come home, maybe they finish university, maybe they're home for, a couple of days or a few weeks or whatever. If you don't have children, this is a moment for you to gamble on something and go after it that you want to put your time, your effort and your creativity into, that feels worth it to you, but maybe doesn't gain traction for a little while to come. All right. Either way, I think this is great. For this, you've got the 2 of Pentacles. Take a gamble, right? With the World card and the 9 of Cups. This is some great news that comes from within your family or your community. It also suggests a lot of you are going to be doing some form of travel around this time. I wouldn't be surprised, like if you're partnered or married, maybe your significant other says to you, hey, listen, we're going to go and we're going to do some travel, right? So I love this for you. Even if you're not partnered, this could be where some kind of travel or maybe even a bucket list trip opens up as a possibility for you. If you see anything around like winning a holiday, or you get a chance to do this kind of crazy experience or trip, if you see any competition around that kind of thing, take a punt, especially on the 8th of September, right? Because there's a chance there. All right, on the 16th of September, Venus is going to come into a square with that Jupiter retrograde. So that 5th house is being activated again, but this time Venus in the 8th house of Leo. She's been there for some time. She's finally finished her retrograde, is now newly direct at this point. And so your 5th house is speculative endeavors. The 8th house is investments, mortgages, loans, big money, other people's money, banking money, that kind of thing. So this could be potentially it's a challenge because the 8th house is a conflict house, it's a crisis house. But with that 5th house Jupiter offering some kind of protection, there's a chance here that you could be getting out of a loan agreement that no longer sort of fits. There's a possibility here, you know, it might be a little bit of a struggle or a kerfuffle because it is a square after all. Now, in order to see how this is going to play out for you, you can look much closer to home. You know, usually it's like, oh, Venus went retrograde 8 years ago in this same space. If you want something a bit more localized, on June the 11th, Venus came into her first square with Jupiter. At that point, they were both direct. On the 21st of August, Venus was retrograde but came into the second square with Jupiter. This time it's Venus that's direct and Jupiter that is retrograde. So we've had this full spectrum. So this square on the 16th, and again, you'll feel this coming in a few days before, you're going to be wrapping up a larger cycle or story that may have been playing out. So Jupiter in the 5th is helping you get your ideas, bring your ideas of pleasure and daring together. Now that it's retrograde, you're getting a second shot at some kind of chance that maybe you didn't move on at the time for any number of reasons. Venus in the 8th house is helping you fully understand and own your personal power. And it's also potentially helping you tap into the dynamics of power in all of your relationships, especially your financial relationships, right? And around that, those around work and business as well may be wrapped up into this. So Jupiter being your 3rd and 12th house rulers, the ruler of your 12th and 3rd houses, sorry, will have brought an element of this, you know, around siblings. Mind your business, Siri. Around siblings will have brought this to a head. So this time it's like you understand something much better. Maybe you'll be clearer on where maybe you need to find more balance around such matters with siblings, etc. Maybe about giving as much as you get and vice versa, right? So this is the benefics, and it does feel like too much of a good thing. So you might see here where something has needed to be adapted for a while, and it's like now you finally get round to it. For this, you've got the Hermit card, you've got the Two of Swords, and you've got the Four of Cups. So you've got two twos. That's a bond, a pact, or an accord. And this here with the Hermit card, with the Two of Swords and the Hermit, this is addressing or approaching something that's been maybe a part of or an experience that you've had for a long time. So this could see a lot of you maybe breaking ties with some version of your past, maybe some version of yourself. It feels in a way, and it's weird to say this to Capricorns, but it feels in a lot of ways for a lot of you like this is a moment of growing up. This is a moment of real sort of clarity of, okay, you know what, it's time to put aside this childish thing. It could be as well, you know, it doesn't have to be just that. It could be that for some of you, you get into, maybe you've been waiting or trying to scrape up for a mortgage for the longest time, and maybe you finally get it, and then when you get it, you're like, yeah, I'm not entirely sure this was, you know, all that I wanted, right? I wanted it to be this, and now that I have it, it doesn't feel like that. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for a lot of you. On the 24th of the month of September, Mars is going to oppose Chiron. Now, this is happening for you across your 4th house of home, family, property, and real estate, and your 10th house of social status, public standing, and your career, your legacy, what you're leaving behind that goes way beyond you. This day in general is pretty packed. You know, it's really packed actually, with a lot of powerful energy. And, you know, a part of this energy is going to be about our wounds, right? Now, Chiron is currently in the sign of Aries, which for you is your 4th house of home and family. And Chiron represents our wounds, our vulnerabilities. And because it's in that sign, this is going to show you, so Chiron in Aries, the sign of the self, it shows us where it has cost us to be ourselves in a specific area of our lives. But the beauty and the, you know, that's the thorn on the rose, right? The rose part, the beautiful part of it is we get to understand how we can heal from that, right? Now, the way that we do this is through Mars, which is over there, which is up there in your 10th house of Libra at this time. And Mars is in its fall in Libra. Mars wants to do this. Libra likes to do this. Libra is Venusian, Mars Martian energy. So total opposites. But Because Mars is the ruler of Aries, where Chiron is, the action that you need to take to access the healing comes through that Mars. And it's something that we were finding a way to balance out, right? So in opposition to the sign of the self and that vulnerable point, a specific highlighting of what it's cost you to be yourself, Mars is the action, right, that needs to be taken. So in your 4th and your 10th house, home, family, status, etc., like I said, they're kind of facing off here. Mars in your 4th house, Mars in your career sector is bringing the fire and the fight to your door, right? In some way, shape or form, because Chiron is there in that 4th house, you could be looking at this, right? So some kind of potential challenge comes up in the home sector, and it's like the action that you take is through your reputation. It's through your, what you show and demonstrate your emotional strength beyond anything else is what's going to prove it, right? Because the 4th house, where Chiron is your deep emotional makeup, your heritage, your roots, what it's cost you to be a part of your family and your heritage is what's being highlighted to you. Well, the way that you get through that is through that Mars. Chiron in that, in that space, Mars in the 10th house for you, which is Libra, is really showing you that you need to focus on your career, your social status, what you want from your life. And remember, Mars is a cutting, removal kind of energy. It is the energy of excitation, passion, power, even war, right? And so there is potentially something here that sort of gets a bit intense, where you have to pull rank, where you have to really show up and really powerfully kind of put your foot down on something, right? And it could be as well that your family and those that you're connected to through blood, maybe you have to draw a line with them somewhere. Maybe you have to kind of say, hey, listen, you know what? In order for me to be myself, I have to claim myself, and I have to build my reputation on who I am. I have to really consider my legacy to the world, to my children, to my significant other, if you've got those things. There's a sense here that it's about really being self-centered right now, and Mars not necessarily doing the greatest work in Libra. It might be really hard for you to say, hey, listen, this is something that now needs to be released in order for me to really gain the healing from what I consider family and home right now. For this, you've got the Knight of Swords, you've got the 4 of Pentacles, and you've got the 3 of Cups. So you've got 2 fours. 2 fours represents insomnia. So there's something here, especially with the 9 of Swords, because it's the 9 of Swords with the 4 of Pentacles. There's a sense here that you are breaking ties with something that has been considered a tradition here. So something that you have always done, always been known for, something that you've always given to your family, etc. Like this could be where you say, actually, you know what? No, I'm not doing it anymore. So really, really interesting stuff. Okay. For your moons on the, the Virgo new moon, you will be for you happening in that 9th house again, so a fresh start. Potentially for a lot of you, this could see some kind of new it could be some kind of travel that happens. Maybe you start to consider where else in the world you could live as opposed to where you are. It could also, though, for a lot of you, that Virgo 9th house might also be activating some idea that you're ready to move towards. Now, this card basically says, head towards creating for yourself what feels right for you. Don't worry too much about anything or anyone else. And also it's going to show you where either for a select few of you, not all, it will show you where a partner really is for you or isn't for you. And for some of you, you could be meeting someone at this time, potentially somebody that's very different to you, from a very different background, etc. And then the Aries full moon, look at that, right? You've got the gate 27 and caring. This card actually represents family connections and also the Robin on the card. Robins always bring me good news. That full moon in Aries for you is happening in your 4th house of home, family and property. I think this is going to be an end to a story that has been a long time coming, and I think it will see you feeling like you belong to yourself and potentially feeling a lot more free than you have in a long time. And the beauty of this is, while it may not be the easiest way to get to, you will feel ultimately so much better for your future as it comes to a close. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes out. Take care, and I'll see you soon.